this is the time of the year where, we listen to the song and it says, it's the most wonderful time of the year. But for many people, it's actually not. And I don't want to be the Grinch that stole Christmas. But, it's a very important point to make that this time of year is tough for a lot of people. It's tough for people that are having mental health conditions. It's tough for people that are worried about the future. It's tough for people that are maybe remembering a lost loved one. It's tough because people have worked so hard the last year and gone through so much in the pandemic over the last 2 to 3 years that it finally catches up. And I know through my own personal experience that you can drive yourself so far. And then when you have a break, whatever's driving you is not there anymore. And that's where, things can catch up on you and you can have difficulties, burnouts, breakdowns. And with me, it was a savage bout of OCD. So what I would like to do is obviously get your messages into the chat if there are any. I've got nothing in at the moment, but do please message in if there's anything you want to specifically talk about. But I'm going to start with the 10 steps of preventing and recovering from a burnout, general mental health conditions, stress, and sort of like psychological breakdowns, because as I said, it's that time of the year when a lot of people had difficulties. And back in 2020, I alluded to the fact earlier, I had my biggest bout of OCD. I did say to my wife at the time that I was going to learn from it and come back stronger. Now I have. I've got what I believe is the absolute optimal key for recovery and also prevention, which is what I like sharing. It's all over my LinkedIn. And it's also, all over websites and wherever I can get it. It's a 10-step process, which, again, don't believe I can share on screen, but maybe we'll do that next Friday if people are happy to come back. And but what I'm going to do, I'm going to run through it verbally. So, look, if you are having difficulties, if you know someone who's having difficulties, if someone in your team, a whole team or a workforce is struggling at the moment with regards to, bouncing back from the festive period, bouncing back from any difficulties, had any personal challenges, then there is a way of reversing that, and I've proven that. I've gone through that myself, and as I said, I've optimized this 10-step plan. So let me help myself and make sure I bring the plan up so I do it in order. If you're having difficulties, one of the key things, the absolute pivotal thing to do, and I know the health service is under stress, and I know it's difficult to get into to private therapy and private practice, but the first thing you must do is go to or endeavour to go to the doctor. Be absolutely, completely honest about the symptoms and get a firm diagnosis. The reason I say this, and I like to use examples, you're not going to get to a specific address in a city like Edinburgh without a map or without a postcode and being guided in there through Google or other map features and sat navs. You're just not going to get there. You might get close, but you're not going to get to the exact address, or not easily anyway, and certainly not without asking people. So what you need to do is have that address. You've got to have that postcode. You've got to know exactly what it is you're dealing with. What is it I have got? And how is the best way of approaching that? And once you've got that understanding of what your illness is or your condition is, then you'll be able to start the journey to be able to recover from that. So it's absolutely pivotal. Once you know what you've got, you can start to understand it. You can start to accept it. You can start to come to terms with it. And then obviously you can start to your journey to remedy it. So look, I've got OCD and I'd rather not have it. However, it gives me superpowers, and when I've got it under control, fantastic. I can do things better than others, I think. But when it's problematic, it's a nightmare. It's a living nightmare. So I understood exactly what I've got. I accept it. I've come to terms with the fact that that's it. I've got OCD. There's not much I can do about it other than manage it. And manage it, I do. And, I've done that by getting this deep understanding from the medical profession. So that is the absolute number one point. if you go to the doctor and they say to you, I must just add, you can do these in any order, and please look at my profile on LinkedIn, and it's all over it. The 10-step process. It's headlines: don't panic if you experience difficulties. Second thing to do, and this is the absolute key for me this time round for recovering. If the doctor recommends medication, take it, but persevere with it. I dropped out of using medication the very, very first time I got diagnosed with OCD. I'd been misdiagnosed from the age of 10, by the way. But when I was diagnosed with OCD at the age of 10, at about 24, 25, I was told to go on medication. That medication played havoc with me. Symptoms weren't sort of side effects. I was really, really spaced out, stopped ejaculating. I became impotent. It's all over my profile. I don't mind talking openly about this stuff. So obviously, I thought, nope, that's not for me. I'm not going to go there. So I gave up on that. And but this time round, it was such a severe bout, brought on by the pandemic, brought on by the loneliness, brought on by the concern, the constant negativity of the press, the fact that I didn't know I was going to have a job because I had to go down on reduced pay when I was working for a hospitality firm, as you can imagine. Didn't know if I was going to make ends meet. Didn't know what the future was. Very lonely, remote, having to work from home, the worst thing in my life. So I really, really crashed, hit rock bottom. It took me 20 months to get back. But what really helped me, probably, I don't know, 6 months ago now, I thought, do you know what? I've got nowhere to turn. I'm going to have to take the medication and persevere with it. And people said, look, it might take 5 to 6 weeks to get through it, get through those side effects. They will regulate, and it might take 5 or 6 weeks, a couple of months or so for you to feel the benefit. And they were right. Had I have persevered at a much younger age, then maybe I wouldn't be here right now talking to you about how savage my OCD was in its last bout. But hey, as I said, I come back stronger from it. So I said to myself, right, okay, I'm going for it. I'm going to persevere with these meds, and it worked. And the side effects were very strange, very challenging, very difficult. But it's at the end of the day, it was an amazing turnaround. After 5 weeks, I just started feeling stronger, and it was incredible feeling to have that edge taken off, and then allow me to do my cognitive and allow me to do my ERP and CBTs and all of the other things that help me get well. Third thing, if the doctor recommends psychotherapy, do it. Trust what they tell you. It's not what your brain is telling you is not right. Okay? They are the experts. You are the patient. If they tell you to do this certain type of therapy, do these activities, do this task, then please follow their advice. As I said, they're the experts, not you. You are the patient in these situations, and this is a mechanism for sorting all kinds of different challenges out. So go to the doctor. If the doctor recommends medication, take the medication. If the doctor recommends psychotherapy and you get onto a therapist and get that therapy, do what they tell you. I was resisting, not doing it, and obviously my symptoms continued. Talk to family and friends. Number 4, colleagues. They'll understand and they'll offer support. There's loads of online support groups and charities that will be able to give you guidance and give you support. Reach out to them. It's so good to know and understand that there's other people. I say it's so good, it's not a great thing, obviously, but it's good for you to know that there are other people out there that have got challenges, other people out there that have got difficulties, other people that are going through what you're going through. We do suffer in silence, no matter what it is that you're experiencing at the moment. Sometimes you just don't want to talk about it because it's scary. You're fearful of the reaction and this stigma that is associated with challenges. But please talk to people. I can cast iron guarantee that the minute you talk to someone, they'll say, actually, I've got the same thing, or I know someone who's got the same thing, or I've got this. You do tend to suddenly find yourself surrounded by positivity, empathy, understanding, advice, support, and just knowing that you're not isolated, you're not alone, and you're not the only one in the world having these thoughts, these experiences, these challenges is a great tonic. Number 5, get yourself super fit. Switch to the healthiest diet possible. Generally is so important. The more physically fit you can get, the more. Sorry, I'm just reading the chat here. Messages are coming through, so let me ping back to those in a moment. I'm nearly halfway through. Bear with me. This is so important for everyone that's having difficulties at the moment. Get yourself super fit. Switch to the healthiest diet possible. More healthy you are, the more mentally healthy you're going to be. So ideally, cut out caffeine, cut out alcohol, any form of smoking, any other stimulants. Super important. Super important, because alcohol is a depressant. Caffeine, sugar are stimulants. Fats, not great for the body, not great for the mind. So get yourself fit. Start exercising. I run. And the important thing is you do all these things in tandem, and over a period of time, you really feel the benefit. Breathing exercises. Practice your breathing. I'm just going to probably go for it in a minute and do a session. I've got Life in Business saying really interesting. So many people through similar stuff. Absolutely, Life in Business. Thank you. I have put the chat on slow because I didn't want it to sort of like get massively overwhelming. So once you've posted, I think you've got to wait a minute till you post again. That's not me being mean. It's just me trying to navigate this beast of YouTube and make sure that we have the best time possible together. But the number 6, breathing. One of the things I learned was breathing exercises, and you can do this too. It's so simple as well. I've created another channel called Chill Influence, where I just put 30-second videos up. Just take 30 seconds out to breathe in slowly, pause, and breathe out slowly, and do it 3 times. So maybe we do that now. So we just breathe in really slowly, and maybe tell me in the chat what you feel after doing this. It does make you feel so much better. Just 30 seconds of breathing in and breathing out slowly. So here's an example. So in we go. Hold. 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 There we go. Just 3 times, and I just feel calmer, and it just makes you feel good. So it really is a good sort of little rescue remedy that I always do before I do a talk, before I do anything. Just have a breathe, 30 seconds. Look at something. Look at one of the videos on Chill Influence. Look at a 30-second video. Look at something that you enjoy looking at for 30 seconds. Breathe in, hold, breathe out. It's absolutely amazing. There's all kinds of breathing exercises you can take up. There's all kinds of different relaxation things you can do. You can do meditation, do yoga, Pilates, all super stuff. Let me just have a quick check at the any more messages. Nice and calming in a busy day. Thank you, Life and Business. Yes, absolutely. So just even if you do it proactively, even if you do it reactively, it's a super way of getting yourself completely relaxed. Do things that you enjoy. Number 7, as much as possible. In fact, push yourself to do happy and enjoyable things, even if you don't like it. Plan exciting things to do in the future. Give yourself things to look forward to and gear up to. So super important. One of the things you'll learn in CBT is to reframe and focus your attention elsewhere. These things are symptoms. These things that we're experiencing, the things that essentially you are you've gone on a journey to make your body react and make your brain react to certain circumstances and situations, and these symptoms are symptoms of an illness. So there's a one way of bringing back positivity, one way of I say diverting your attention to something else that's going to increase the exercising of your soothing system, is to do things that you love doing and do as much of them as possible. Even if you don't feel like it, push yourself to be happy. Push yourself to do those fun things. Talk to your family, talk to your loved ones, talk to your friends, go out, enjoy yourself, book yourself that holiday, have something to look forward to. All of these positives having a way of smothering the negatives. And as I said, all of these things you can do simultaneously ultimately are the 10 steps to bring you back. Number 8, immerse yourself in work and activities. Put everything you've got into these. Obviously, don't burn yourself out. Obviously, don't push too hard. It really, really is, important to make sure you're busy and make sure you're delivering. It gives you purpose. It gives you outcomes. It gives you results. And obviously, it's focusing your mind and attention on the things that you should be focusing on, which is life, which is work, which is enjoyment. Segueing back with number 7. Obviously, don't do them to excess. Don't do them to burnout. You don't want to push yourself down the wrong path. But if you're busying yourself and you're doing things with purpose and you're doing things that lead to an outcome, you get some little wins all the time. It's going to be hugely positive and productive. One of the things that is difficult, but you're going to be asked to do, is sleep. Sometimes the affects the symptoms, the challenges you're experiencing will impact on your ability to sleep. But try and do it as much as possible. Get yourself some great sleep behaviors and sleep habits. There's loads and loads of resources out there on how to have a sleeping regime. Make sure you're coming off devices an hour before you go to sleep, etc., etc., etc. Over time, the more you can sleep, the more you can rest, the more important it becomes. Really, really super important. And I think the last one, if you brought this up and you're looking at it, it really, really does ring true for me. Is do not expect miracles. It took months for you to get here. It took months for you to for all the pressures you put yourself under, for all the stresses and strains, for whatever it is that's made you have the challenges you're experiencing at the moment. It didn't just trigger overnight. It's been a build up over a period of time. It took months. It possibly took years for you to get to this point. So it's going to take time to reverse them. But that's fine. Don't put pressure on yourself. Go with it. Go with the flow. Trust that what you're doing are the right things. Trust in the doctors. Trust in your therapy. Trust that decisions you've made to get yourself fit. Trust in the relationships you've got with family and friends. Trust in the fact that you're going out, you're enjoying yourself, you're doing things, you're pushing yourself to, do those things that you would historically do before you were overcome with emotional challenge. Trust that this is going to work, but it's going to work over time. So, if you're like me, perfectionist, ADHD and OCD, you want to have things now. You want this to go away instantly. It doesn't. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but it's something you've got to work at. As I said, symptoms of a condition, symptoms of an illness that have built up over time, and they're things that you are going to have to work hard at to reverse and reduce and ultimately get your systems collaborated. Something I learned amazingly was that you've got 3 systems. You've got the threat system that drives my problems, panic and then the urge to do things to solve whatever I'm panicking about. You've got your drive system, which is pushing you forward and I want more. And then you've got your soothing system, which is the emergency services, putting water onto the fire. And we don't exercise that enough. Being more compassionate, being more friendly, doing good for people. Just exercising that by doing great things, enjoyable things. Exercising your soothing system brings that up. It brings it up to a point where you can safely say it's competing with your drive and your threat system. And it helps. So don't expect miracles. Don't put yourself under pressure. Go with the flow. Trust you're doing the right things. Do those things. Do them all. Do everything simultaneously. And you will come good. Trust me. I literally had the most chronic and the most worst bout of my OCD ever. Started on Christmas Eve 2020. As I say, it took me 20 months to get myself back. But I did, and I've come back stronger and healthier and more knowledgeable, and it's doable. Another thing to share with you, and this is the same in every single human. We've all got a tolerance gauge within us on how much pressure and stress and strain and challenge we can tolerate. Hence the funny name. And your point of tolerance will be different to others. It's based on your behavioural profile, your psychometric profile. Some people have a much higher tolerance than others, but there is a point that once you cross it, you become symptomatic. And what these 10 points are all about, I'll put the image, a great image, in the link in LinkedIn, and the post in LinkedIn, so that you can consume it afterwards. This limit, before you hit it, you're let's call yourself normal. There is no normal in my world. I generally don't think anyone's absolutely perfect, but normal for you, and maybe a bit quirky, is what you'll be like and feeling like before you hit this. I call it the burnout bridge, or the the break bridge, that's fine, comfortable. You won't be symptomatic. Once you cross over there, you become symptomatic, and unfortunately your brain takes over and decides for you what you should be doing. And in many occasions, what it is kind of decides to do for you, or pushes you to do, or compels you to do, isn't actually helpful. You need to retrain your brain to do things properly, which is going back to point 1, point 2, and point 3 about going to the doctor, going to the therapists, and looking at the medication route. Your brain is your threat system is in save Colin, save whoever mode, and takes you down the wrong path. That reaction you'd all have when, or if, let's say, not when, but if someone were to run into a room with a shotgun and a balaclava, you're going to have a reaction. Your brain is going, right, okay, I've got to take over now, and I think I know best. Let's do this, and I'm sure this is the right thing to do. Unfortunately, it gets it wrong at times. So this is the point that it starts to get things wrong, and you can spiral and get worse and worse and worse and worse. As I said, don't expect miracles, but the idea of all of these 10 steps is to get yourself back underneath your tolerance point, and get yourself to a point of comfort. And that's where you can do all of the great tools and things that are going to get you as close to your normal as possible. So hopefully you found that interesting. Hopefully I haven't put everyone to sleep, or if I have, then point 9. This is going to be a really helpful thing to you to watch back, because that's going to help you get some sleep and rest. I'm going to shut this down now. And life and business, you're prolific. It's like gauges in a car. It's how I relate to that. No, absolutely. I think life and business, Dave, that's you, isn't it, my friend? I think what you'll find, if you want to try have an analogy, if you're looking at your temperature gauge on your vehicle and it goes beyond a particular point, it goes into the red, you're going to have problems. It's exactly the same with your human gauge as well. So what I wanted to move on to, and thanks everyone for being here, and thanks everyone for getting involved. What I wanted to move on to was neurodiversity. Neurodiversity is a fascinating subject, and I kind of relate it to other things that we've discussed and debated in the past, because I've worked in many situations where people have said, we want to hire more neurodiverse people. I was like, okay, do you understand what neurodiversity is and neurodivergence? Are you just saying that similarly to the fact that, we've got to get more disabled people into our organisation? Great purpose, great aspirations, but are you understanding what you're asking for? Because there's so many different forms of disability. It's not about putting ramps and handles everywhere just for accessibility, which obviously is super helpful for people that need that extra those extra adjustments. But I'm technically disabled because of my mental health challenges, and they're not going to be that supportive for me. I don't need those. I need other things, and it's the same with neurodiversity. People are saying, let's get more neurodiversity, but do you understand what the different types of neurodiversity are? So the textbook will tell us that it's different thinking styles, and someone that is deemed to be neurodiverse is in a minority group of thinking styles to, again, this word normal. Again, I use the word normal, but I don't like using the word normal. It's one of those things that there's a majority of people that think this way. They would describe sometimes as normally, but let's call it the majority of way that people think. And then there's the minority ways that people think. And for me, this is not something that we should blow out into a big challenging thing, because it surely is a decision in the womb. So your thinking style is determined whilst you're developing as an embryo into a baby and born. Very much the same as the colour of your eyes, what hand you're going to write with, what gender you're going to be. Everything that makes us who we are is a decision that's made during that sort of like life, like a life development process, and thinking style is one of those. I kind of struggle a little bit when people categorize this as a major negative and a challenge that we need to address. I mean, obviously it's become one. I think the way it's been marketed, the way it's been communicated, the way it's been adopted, because we don't go around the world sort of like talking about how there's a big thing about whether you're left-handed or right-handed, or saying that because you've got green eyes you're in a minority, and therefore you're sight different, or you're sight diverse. It's it's been picked up on by a lot of people and focused on the negative sides, like mental health. It's so much more acceptable now to talk openly about mental health and mental well-being, but historically it's been a challenge. It's been a taboo subject, a lot of stigma around it. And neurodiversity's I think is one of those things that's been caught up in that negative narrative, which I think is wrong, because as we know, people with that are neurodivergent, with different forms of neurodiversity, with different thinking styles, bring so many superpowers and so many wonderful things to the party. I worked with an organisation once that said that 60% of their workforce was on the autism spectrum, because they were a technology research software development organisation. Incredible. They nailed this years and years ago, that these individuals that had a different thinking style were the very best in the profession for what it is they wanted to develop. And this is a huge global organization that we rely on for all of our communications. It's one of those areas where I think, if we have much more openness and positivity and start celebrating the skills, qualities, and achievements of people with different forms of neurodiversity, then it will be a different conversation altogether. But I do think it's been caught up in a lot of negativity. Yes, there are different thinking styles. Yes, some people would say that they have such extreme symptoms because of their neurodiversity that it's challenging to do things, and that's where it's bordering on the clinical side. But there's lots of people that have illnesses that you would class as physical illnesses, cancers, etc., musculoskeletal. So I think we need to be more compassionate. We need to be much more aware of all of the things that are going on in people's lives. And yes, if they've got a different thinking style, rather than think, okay, that's a negative and let's put this into this whole area of negativity, and we've got to fix this, and we've got to, it's a problem. It's not. We need to talk about what the benefits of. Myself, I said earlier, I've got superpowers because I think differently, and that's another thing as well. On the neurodiversity side of things, what classifies as neurodiverse, and what is neurodiversity? Because some people will say that OCD, anxiety disorders, and different mental health illnesses aren't a form of neurodiversity, and other people will say they are. I personally feel that if anything affects your thinking style and it puts you into one of those minority groups of thinking style, then it is a neurodivergent situation. It's if you think of what people with OCD are capable of, it's solutions brain, hyper attention to detail. I can proofread for Britain, not my own work, but other people's. My brain tells me everything I write is correct, and so does everyone else's. But when I see typos in other people's work, my brain zooms in on it. I am able to spot risks from a country mile away, where other people can't. And that's my different thinking style. It's in a minority. It's my neurodiversity. Other people, as I said, with different paths and different conditions or different neurodiversity, will think differently themselves. So I think it's in the way that we describe, it's in the way that we discuss, it's in the way that we position. But I do understand that throughout the years we've always had minority groups needing to champion themselves. We've got LGBT plus groups, women, obviously, gender historically. There's so many groups and audiences that have difference, that have felt and been in the minority in the past. That it's taken a monumental program and communications and changing of mindset to get people to think differently about those things. I think the biggest thing that impacted on me of late was in 2012 at the Olympics, when the Paralympics obviously followed the Olympics, and oh my God, watching individuals with difference doing things faster and better than I could ever hope to, even if I trained, just made me think, there's individuals out there that have adapted and obviously have been challenged in life, but hey, crikey, look what you can achieve. And I think that's amazing. Exactly the same with neurodiversity. We have superpowers, and we need to celebrate those, and we need to channel those. It's really, really important that we have a different narrative on this. It segues into a lot of stuff that I think businesses are massively interested as well, because the reason people will say that they want to get different thinking styles into the business is because difference is good. Fantastic. Totally agree with that. But equally, there's a super challenge that people have around attracting, retaining and attracting people into their business that have and aspirations to focus on difference. One of the things that I find is, if you are a compassionate organization, if you can embrace everything that everybody brings to the party, move away from the negative and look at the positives. What does that person and that person and that person and that person bring? How good are they at doing X, Y, Z? Obviously, what are the things that they're not so good at? And once you understand that, you can drop labeling. If we break this down into what is Colin good at, what is Dave good at, what is anyone else good at? I forgot to tell you what Dave's good at. He's an absolutely superb, unbelievable SME, small business advisor and non-exec director. So again, if you're in need of any business support, get in touch with Life in Business and Dave Greenaway, absolute legend. So going back to what I was saying, if you can start thinking differently in your organization about, forget disability, forget neurodiversity, forget gender, forget LGBT, etc. Forget normality, which I personally think is the biggest minority, because everybody is different. What are we doing here? We need to get the very best people in that can do things in the best and optimal way that will deliver for us and for others. So this whole thing about let's go into specific strands and let's just focus on gender for now, and let's just focus on Black heritage for now, and let's just focus on humans, and let's focus on skills. and let's focus on who is best to do what within our organisation, and go through that recruitment process with that in mind. And you might find then that you're going to have a much more diverse slate of people coming through. You're going to have a much more open organisation where people are celebrating what they're good at doing, and it because of the condition I may have, or because of my thinking style, or because of the experiences I've had. So it's really, really, really important that organisations and us as individuals in organisations change the narrative. We've got to rebrand difference and make it positive rather than negative. You know, when we look at mental health and mental health conditions, apparently we're a burden to society. Apparently we cost business because of lots of illness and sickness. Okay, you know, that might be a fact, but on the other side, the absolute impact we make and the productivity that we bring, and you know, that lived experience and all of those skills and qualities we bring to the world and to business need to be celebrated, and they far dwarf the negatives. I've got Super Dave here. Love the idea of superpowers. I'm gonna I'm on my soapbox here, and I definitely think what I need to do is invest in some technology to get other people in, because I've been talking flat out for 37 minutes, and as I said, I might be helping people with their sleep deprivation challenges, and play this back. I might might be able to make my millions with helping people sleep better. But the superpowers, Dave, life in business, super SME coach. Look, I like to describe things differently. Hey, there we go, some neurodiversity, and you think of the film franchise, the X-Men. Now, I did have to Google that to say, are we allowed to use men in X-Men? And no, is that going to offend? And it divides the room, to be perfectly honest. I think eventually we need to call it the X-Force or the X people. But at the moment, it's called the X-Men. So there are super heroes, male, female, etc. You've got unbelievably talented and gifted individuals. One of them is blue and furry. One of them can disappear and morph into to other things. One of them's got mind control. One of them's got laser eyes. One of them's got super strength and weapons that can come out of his knuckles. I'm not going to name them all. Obviously, Wolverine was the last one, but we're looking at all of these different characters in this film, the X-Men and the X-Men franchise, and they are different, right? So let's move forward. Who are they always battling with? They're battling with the normal people, as they like to describe it, as the humans. It's always the humans that are kind of like normal, that don't have these gifts, these superpowers, these differences, or going down that negative phrase, those mutations. But who wins? Who always wins? Every single film, the X-Men prevail, unless it's a two-parter, and they actually prevail in the second one. Yeah. So somebody somewhere has nailed this. Good versus evil, different versus normal. We know that difference is great. Difference is awesome, and whatever form it comes in, and especially if it's subject for this channel, neurodiversity and mental health and mental ill health. We've got superpowers, and we need to celebrate those. So we need to hold our head up high and go, right, this is no longer a negative. This is a positive. And in years to come, we will be not having these conversations. We're probably going to make ourselves redundant. But as I said, we do need to have these movements. We do need to have these conversations. We do need to have these discussions to push the narrative and change it. Dave, you're a superhero. Your thoughts on should high diversity is not obvious to tell truth, warts and all. Yeah, your thoughts on should we hide our diversity and it's not obvious, or tell the truth, warts and all. Well, do you know what? I think I know the answer to this, and there is a little of a downside, but also, may I turn that into an upside. So no, I don't think we should hide our diversity. I once was on a personal branding course way back in my career where an exceptional consultant said to us, look, if you're coffee, sell yourself as coffee, because there are people out there that want to buy and consume coffee. Don't try and sell yourself as tea, because you're not tea. Now, someone might buy you as tea, but they're soon going to realize you're actually coffee. So I love that, because if you try and be someone you're not, if you hide your diversity, if you hide your challenges, then it's difficult to keep that up. I mean, mental health conditions are described as a hidden disability. Again, we've got to change that narrative, because why would anyone want to open up about their illnesses and their challenges and their neurodiversity and their other diversities that you can't necessarily see? Why would you if we keep framing them as negative? Let's frame them as positive and be happy and be delighted that we have these superpowers and we have these differences. So no, I wouldn't advocate people hiding their diversity. However, in the wrong situation, you might be judged. And people might say, okay, a little bit too far there. I had that with some of my posts on LinkedIn a few months back, where I talked about the effect of SSRIs on me. The fact that the first one I took, Seroxat, made me impotent, stopped me ejaculating, and thankfully it was temporary. I was 26 years old though, so you can imagine being mentally ill and also impotent. Not great for me, Dave. That's when I was living up in Oxfordshire. I think you know that story, amongst loads of others, which we won't need to go into on this channel. But it's probably a little bit too much for some, and that's going to divide a room. But hey, it creates a conversation. And someone said to me, Colin, a little bit too much. You're not going to get a job. Or are you going to struggle to get a job if you're saying this, because people will react negatively to that? And my response was, great. It's, the recruitment process is a two-way process, right? It's just about as much me screening myself or screening an organization into whether I'm going to fit and whether I'm going to enjoy myself there and perform there, as screening myself out. And if someone thinks, oh, Colin is a little bit raw, he's a little bit open about his mental health, and he goes into some sort of scary territories about, ejaculation and him potentially feeling he might be a murderer and, having thoughts about, attacking children. Okay, look, that might be frightening people right now, but it's part of a condition and illness. It's not true. So there we go. It's like, people are going to judge you. If they judge you, for me, fine, judge me. I wouldn't have performed for you and at your organisation anyway. And I think telling the truth, warts and all, I'm quite comfortable in my own skin. I want to be a change agent. I want people to feel that they're not alone. I want to help people with their challenges in life. So I'll be super, super open, and I might frighten people, and I might certainly not upset people, but I might shock people. That's deliberate, because I'm happy to do it. I'll take the consequences if there are any, but I'll also take the upsides. A mother of a child reached out to me after I posted a very, very raw OCD related post onto LinkedIn and said, my daughter is really struggling. And to kind of a very long story short, after 6 months of me getting involved, talking to the parents and advising them on my journey and what OCD is, how it manifests itself, etc., talking about the burnout bridge and gauges, etc., and helping them navigate the right path. 6 weeks later, she was in a much better place, and I'll take that. You're never going to get NatWest, if you're listening, taking that as a mortgage payment. I wish you did, because then I could clear my mortgage off quickly, but it's not going to happen. But hey, it makes me feel fantastic, and I know I'm helping people. And going back to the 10-point plan, when you help people, when you're compassionate, when you're doing good, it makes you feel good, it makes other people feel good. It's massaging your soothing system. Probably gone a little bit off piece there, but hide our diversity, no, I wouldn't. And if you get screened out as a consequence of it, see that as a positive. Obviously, if the the decision is, am I going to get that job, and am I going to be able to survive and feed myself, feed my family, and heat the house and keep my my loved ones safe. If by putting that at detriment, by talking openly or too openly about things, that's a decision for you to make. But again, I would question whether the organisation is the right organisation for you if it doesn't embrace difference. And that's why I think we've got to change things. It's fine to tread, but I agree we should be the whole of us and others. Coffee and tea. Yeah, Dave, absolutely. Life and business. Couldn't agree more. We are what we are. We're a product of the decisions that were made in the womb, and we're a product of experience, and we're a product of learning and education. We're a product of our failings, and we're a product of our success. That is why there is, in my opinion, absolutely no normal. This is where neurodiversity, mental health, disability, gender, LGBT, everything, race, colour, religion, everything all segues together and into one, let's call it, group. Humans. We are human, and we've all got different stuff going on in our lives. We've all had different experiences. We've all had different challenges. We've all had things thrown in our way that have knocked us down, and we've got back up again, and sometimes we haven't got back up again. Yeah. So all of that experience, all that lived experience, all the things that, it forms us. And, if you've broken your leg, you're not going to hide yourself away. You're going to walk into the office with a cast on, and then people are going to rip into you and say, how did you do it? Hopefully you got a good story. And then they're going to sign the cast, and they're going to say, and you're going to have stuff on there that you're going to think, oh my God, I wish they hadn't put that on there. But you're probably going to keep it on for a giggle. You're going to go about your business. You're just maybe going to hobble a bit and do it a bit slower, and people are going to make some adjustments. It's no difference with neurodiversity. It's no difference with eye colour. It's no difference with gender. We've got to get to this point where we don't have to have campaign groups and campaigns for championing all forms of difference. We've got to just accept that we're human and we are different. And I bring this to the party. You bring that to the party. I can't bring this to the party. As I said, I can't proofread my own work. People love it when I make a typo and make a mistake. But all the people that work for me, they're probably thinking, oh my God, if I send that to Colin, he's going to put red pen all over it. I don't mean it nasty. I want them to learn and do the best work possible. But God, when Colin makes a mistake, it's headline news, and people rip the Michael out of me. And I find it hilarious because, it's absolutely one of my failings. My brain tells me that what I've written is absolutely 100% spot on. But it's not to other people. I get other people to proofread my stuff. We've got to be the whole us. We really do need to. And I'm kind of looking here. We're at 48 minutes, 49 minutes, and fair going. I didn't think I could talk this long, and I have. And I've had some incredible support from Dave, their Life in Business. And if anyone else is on the line and wants to throw in a question or take us down another route, I think we've covered a number of different areas, some important areas. We've looked at, for me, the most important thing this particular time of year is the fact that people are having difficulty. It could be financial, it could be physical, and it's definitely a lot of people having emotional and mental difficulty. The pandemic did change things for everybody. Some embraced it and some didn't. I personally, and others I know really closely, that isolation, that being locked in, having your routine changed, the fear of getting infected yourself, the fear of infecting other people, concern about money, concern about future. I mean, absolutely game-changing stuff in our lives. Was not a great experience for many, and that is why we're having this situation, not just with physical illness, but mental illness within our hospitals and within our care state. It's not their fault. I think of the amazing individuals and people that work in our health service and emergency services, and they're doing their best. They're going beyond the call of duty, and I fear for them as well. Is who's looking after the people, I think mental ill health is the pandemic from the pandemic. So it's so important. If you're not feeling it, if people in your team aren't feeling it, talk to people like me. I can help. Talk to people like Dave at Life and Business. He can help. It's so super important. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to put I'll put the 10 steps. Now, interestingly, I said this to someone earlier, it's all well and good having the theory and having the steps in front of you, but it's the doing it that is the big challenge. I struggled really, really hard to do the therapy side. I know everything and anything about OCD, but when my brain was telling me I needed to do this, otherwise that would happen, you trust your brain. It's too strong at times. And it's when I took the meds for a period of time that it took the edge off. It made me and gave me the ability to do the CBTs and the ERPs better. And as I said, it's a journey, and the more you do it, the better you get at it, and the better the outcome. So, I get this, but unfortunately, it's a task. If you are having difficulties, if you've reached burnout, if you've got difficulties with mental health, you're just demotivated, you're suffering from depression, anxieties, whatever it may be, it's fine. It's an illness. It's a condition. It's a human characteristic and trait, and your brain is reacting to everything that's been impacting on it over a period of time. And you can undo it, you can reverse it, and those 10 steps will help you to do it. But you've got to invest in them, you've got to do them, but don't beat yourself up if you can't. I just persevered. And then I found the key, and the key is doing them all together. And the game changer for me was the medication. I genuinely resisted doing that, but I got to a point where I was at rock bottom. I was going to lose everything. So I decided, do you know what? I've got one thing left I can do, which I've been avoiding. So all or nothing. And hey, wish I'd have done it earlier, but hey, but at least I have, and sharing that. And we talked about neurodiversity, and I think what I'll do in the future is I get people into the conversation. We'll go live and we'll loop people in who can talk about their experiences with their different thinking styles, with their neurodiversity, and how they've achieved. And that's what I want to focus on. Let's go to achievement and positive first, and just let the negatives be in the minority group, because generally we are amazing human beings with different perspectives, different ways of thinking, different ways of acting, and there's room for all of us on this huge planet, and all the skill sets that we bring to achieve brilliance and deliver brilliance. We talked about the stigma, then should I go so open? I mean, it's a decision for you. I'm not going to encourage people to be super open just off the bat. It's something you need to think about, and you do need to think about what that might mean to you, what it might mean to others. I have my wife talk to me and say, Colin, should you be so loud and so open about some of these things? And it's like, for me, yeah, because I want to. I get so much positivity by doing so, and a little bit of negativity. So I'll take that. And at the end of the day, we're talking about enriching and potentially saving people's lives here. Did a speech at CLOC conference, which was absolutely incredible. 500 odd legal operations directors. And afterwards, the whole Seroxat ejaculation and impotence thing, someone said to me, I cannot believe you went there, but thank you so much for doing so, because my partner has just started taking Seroxat, having the exact same situation, and is so scared of what's happened to him. But you've just basically told me it's just a side effect of a drug and it can affect you that way. And as soon as you stop taking it, you're going to get back to normal. Use the word again, back to how it should be. And I went, yep, there you go. She said, saved his life just by talking and just being open. So look, it's not a fine line. It's just a decision. Do you or don't you? But the more we talk about it, the more people will talk about it. The more it's understood, the less people are going to be puzzled and fear it. You know, I'm gonna hopefully just turned 50, and I'm hopefully going to live in a world in not too long time where people are actively just not bothered anymore by difference. It's just seen as part and parcel of the human makeup, and we're not going to be labeling people, oh, I'm this, oh, I'm that, I have this, I have that. It's just like, right, I'm brilliant at doing this stuff. There we go. I'm not so good at doing that. So, you know, you put me into that situation, I'll knock it out the park. Don't put me in that situation. There's better people than me for that. And we don't need to go searching for the fact that it's for a different form of difference. Okay, maybe pie in the sky. But I do generally believe that is that's the future. I look at my kids, 16 and 13. Ooh, get your kids' age right. 16 and 13. They do not give a flying whatever about mental ill health, diversity, neurodiversity, LGBT. It's not a thing for them. Yeah, it's just that so-and-so is so-and-so. I get on with him, her, and not him, her. Yeah, it's absolutely fascinating. And, you know, I suddenly thought to myself, look, you know, if my son, who's going to go into work first, goes into work and is suddenly told, oh, we've got a big problem with getting Black heritage people into our organisation, or we've got a big problem with getting women onto to boards, and we've got a big problem, you know, getting neurodiverse and disabled people into our organisation, problem. He's going to go from not knowing there's a problem and just recruiting people or working with people anyway because they're humans, to start thinking there's a problem, and then start being exposed to what the solution might be to those problems, and therefore it accentuates and creates a bigger problem. So I think generationally, we're going to find that this just goes away. But whilst it hasn't, it's up to us to make things right, and let's keep championing stuff and hope that eventually we don't need to. So look, we're at time. I've thoroughly enjoyed myself, but I love talking. I talk for Britain, I talk for the world, and you know, I thank you for bearing with me. I thank you, Dave, and Life in Business, for all of your incredible support throughout this session. If you're still with us, thank you. If you're watching this retrospectively, thank you. I endeavour to build this out, professionalise it, get more and more subjects and different people onto it. So watch out for the next promotion of the next going live. Let's get a little bit more interaction, hopefully, a little bit more run up to it. It's probably going to be 11 o'clock next Friday, and I wish you all a wonderful rest of your day. Take care, have a very mentally happy and healthy day, weekend, and rest of your lives. All the best. Take care.